Hello everyone, just another short video to update you on things that have come across my computer screen in the last week or two. Firstly, we've had a bit more on the Miami building collapse, and a couple of days ago somebody sent me this video by this Michael Jaco, who I hadn't heard of before. I'll put the links in the description. Now, of course, he's going down the dustification and Hudson effect route, and he did make one interesting observation which I hadn't seen before, which there appears to be this car which has moved and got displaced somehow, which is quite interesting. And if it is a car, it could be it's a bit difficult to actually be sure it's a car. It does kind of look like it. But I wasn't really, his presentation was a bit not, it wasn't brilliant. It was okay, but I was kind of interested that he went on to Dr. Judy Wood's website and he went through and we went to on the book, and he went through some of the slideshows that I put together based on some of the PowerPoints that Dr. Wood has done, and one or two of the slides that I'd done. And we sort of shared some slides. He's quite a few years old now, so I was quite interested he went through that. But as I said, I think in the last video, I think this is most likely a just poor maintenance. And indeed, another video was sent to me, and it's from Building Integrity channel, and he goes through some of the plans and looks at a video clip which was taken just a few seconds before the building collapsed. And remember, it was only a partial collapse. I think about 2/3 of the building collapsed, not all of it, not like the World Trade Center. But he goes through that, and then what he came out with, which was most important, was there was actually a report done on this building in 2018 by Morabito Consultants, and he goes through this a little bit, not all of it, and you can read this. The links will be in the description. So there were some known problems with this building. Structural problems that had been identified, relatively small things, because as they point out, I think in this report, the building can look fine on the outside, but it can have some structural problems which are lurking beneath the surface, and some of these are identified in this report. I mean, somebody else that posted on my Facebook profile, yeah, you can get these bits of building dropping off, but it doesn't mean the building's going to fall down. So you've got to look at various things, and this chap does, the building integrity chap does look at various things, and he identifies that one of the pillars which he's pretty sure collapsed, which I think is this one, did have some damage on it in 2018. So he does think that the building was poorly maintained, and the engineers sort of conclude this. And so and there's various leaks and things like that. So you can look at that online. So I'm pretty sure that this building was, it was just poor maintenance. I don't think it was directed energy weapons. I don't think there was anything like that involved in this case, and we don't know the motives. And so the other element to this thing was the John McAfee link, which was put onto Twitter and various other places, claiming that he had an apartment there or something, and there was this 31 terabytes of files or something. And in relation to that, I came across this update from Patrick Bet-David, who runs this Valuetainment channel, and he put something out because he interviewed John McAfee in 2018. It's an interesting interview. I think I may have linked it in the last video, I can't remember. But he'd actually done a little bit of his own digging and found that this alleged 31 terabytes of files probably came from a tweet from 2019 from McAfee. It's therefore it looks like it's something which is disinformation based on something which was he did post, but not, it was, the wording was changed, and I think it was a faked tweet. So McAfee is basically not a very nice person, I don't think, and or was, and it's interesting that Patrick Bet-David calls it an alleged suicide as well. So this could be another spirited away thing out of the public eye, by the people in the shadows. And the reason why I say that is because I recently watched another documentary, which I'll just get the page up for. So this was a documentary which I came across, or somebody mentioned to me, called Gringo: The Dangerous Life of John McAfee, and it's on the various, iTunes player, whatever they call it now, Apple TV or whatever it is. Can't remember the name of it. I managed to find a torrent download for it. I think it's on Amazon Prime as well, but that's it. It appears to me, at least, to be it's an independently made documentary. Although it's funded by CBS, which is kind of interesting. But it does reveal a lot more about some of the backstory of McAfee, and he does seemingly look like somebody who is another cut-out character. I think his father committed suicide, and he was involved with various sort of dodgy operations. He does look like some kind of front man, a bad boy. And then he was he put himself up as a presidential candidate. If you can get hold of that, watch it. It's very interesting, and I think the interviews are pretty good. And it does come across like he would be somebody that's useful to the people in the shadows as a distraction from other things, that might be going on, say in Belize, where he holed up for a while, and other places. So give that a watch and see what you think. So moving on, then looking at some of the COVID stuff, I was also sent an article which was about this. I'll try and link the article as well, but this was the most interesting thing that the article was talking about, in that the Indian Bar Association, they've actually put out a legal notice saying that they want to prosecute Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, who's chief scientist at the World Health Organization, and Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General of the World Health Organization. And they've put in their charge contempt of court and aggravated offences against humanity by spreading disinformation about the drug ivermectin, despite having full knowledge of the judgment passed by the Honourable High Court of Bombay at Goa, created May 28th, 2021. So they're basically going after these people because they spread misinformation about the efficacy of ivermectin, which is what many people have been saying, and same for hydroxychloroquine. That these drugs should have been used to treat these people, and they said, the World Health Organization and others and pharmaceutical companies said, no, these don't work, they're unsafe, blah blah blah. So I thought it was interesting and a hopeful sign that the Indian Bar Association has now decided to go after these people. And as somebody pointed out on Facebook, yes, we know that the people like these high up in these organisations are well protected, but we're about to see how well protected, aren't we? So that's interesting. And on a similar note, we've had this letter which has been published very recently. Here you are, 2nd of July 2021, from a solicitor's firm, PJH Law, who are representing Dr. Sam White, who's a UK general practitioner doctor, who's had his licence to practice within the NHS suspended on 26th of June. Now, I'll try and put the video of Sam White in the description as well, in that he was speaking out about malpractice over the COVID stuff. He started speaking out not too long ago, although he'd resigned from his job, I think in February 2021, because he was sick of it all. So this is a very good letter. It's 20 pages long, and there's plenty of stuff which you've heard me say and other people say, and it's all reference and stuff. I think it's towards the end, though. I'll try and find the bit towards the end where he says, how can the National Health Service be endorsing the government policy of vaccine passports when that policy, next page, makes those who wish to rely on their own immune system second-class citizens? That policy gives privileges to citizens who take a medical intervention vaccination. By endorsing the vaccine passport policy, the National Health Service is not only endorsing a breach of international law, which makes sacrosanct an individual's right to decline any medical intervention without any repercussion, but also breaches the UK law on informed consent. Since when did the National Health Service morph into the National Pharmaceutical Distribution Service? And then interestingly, he says the writer of this letter has a backlog of whistleblowers to advise with examples of pressure being placed on employees within care and NHS settings during the COVID pandemic, including exaggeration of COVID bed occupancy and hospitalisation. Such pressure is unethical and contrary to the standards the public expect in public health settings. So it's good that, somebody like this is taking this on. Philip Highland is the name of this solicitor, and addressing it to, this was to the head of Public Health England, who's Sir John somebody or other, Sir Simon Stevens, who I think I'd read is due to retire very soon anyway, so, where is this going to go? But nevertheless, it's good to see more people, going down the legal route. And obviously this is what should have been happening, a year ago when I was pointing out that, they've committed acts of domestic terrorism, the government that is, and you could arguably say now the NHS has done the same. So with these two letters that have come to the, across my screen in the last few weeks, I decided that what I would do is put these in a letter to public health directors. I wrote to about 150, 160 of these when somebody had kindly sent me a load of email addresses. And I decided to write to them again just yesterday. It took a while to compile this letter, and I'm inviting them to look at this website as well, just down here, this whistleblowers website, which again came to me quite recently. I'll just bring that up. It's just going to... So, yeah, Blow the COVID-19 Whistlers is encouraging people to, come forward, those in authority. So I wanted to... It gave me an opportunity to send this to them with, some pointers that, yes, we've got people talking to people in India doing stuff, people in, India doing stuff, people in the UK employment law doing stuff. And so it seemed an opportune time to, to get them to look at this video, which is...
Your life, your loved ones' lives, your children's lives, your grandchildren's lives could be in grave danger if you don't tell the truth about this so-called pandemic that we're all having to endure.
And so, this is aimed at, I think, people like these public health officials. And so I decided to send it to them. So you can read that letter there if you want. It's quite short. I've just included some of the stuff. For example, the Finnish MP video, I sent a link to that. Pointed out that when I posted this on Facebook, it gave my account a restriction, and the link was deleted, I think, within 2 or 3 hours of me posting this link. So, make of that what you will. So on the theme of censorship, I got this warning on my Facebook account randomly. This was on Saturday, or was it Sunday? Anyway, I got this warning saying that I couldn't post any links until a certain time, 1916. And this was just random. I mean, I had this thing, the censorship of the post from the 19th of June, but that's the first time I've ever had that it's actually deleted a link and given me a warning on my account. Despite all the other stuff I've posted, that's the first warning I've had. So I was a bit puzzled by this, and so I posted this, and as you can see, I got 85 comments. And, I've seen here that a lot of other people had the same problem around the same time. So it's made me wonder, why, if they've just, identified a certain group of people that are posting certain types of stuff, and they've just flicked a switch and given them a 24-hour ban on posting links, either to test the system or just to see how they react and see how other people react and see what, it's testing the water for something else. I don't know. And a few sort of interesting comments came up, like this one, for example, which I thought was pretty good. So, Facebook, we know, are totally, on board with the scam. They're invested in it, I think, morally and financially. Google as well, of course. We've seen, the sorts of things they've been doing. So, I just thought I'd flag that up as well. So finally then, I'm going to briefly talk about this document release. I mean, it's almost laughable, from the Pentagon about the preliminary assessment unidentified aerial phenomena, 25th of June, and this was long anticipated, talked about for several weeks or months, and had various news items about it, and you read this thing, you can read it. There's the links here, Department of Naval Intelligence, I think it is, DNI, or Defence National Intelligence. I don't know what the acronym is here. There's so many of these three-letter agencies, but it's all of 9 pages long. You can read the thing if you want. Unclassified, it says. Now, I have briefly listened to this Louis Elizondo, this CIA op guy whose dad was involved in the Bay of Pigs operation and ended up in a Cuban jail for a while. And he talks about, oh yeah, this is oh, but wait till you see the classified report or something. You may not have said those exact words, but yeah, well, that's the point, isn't it? There's still a classified report, so it's still secret. That's not, keeping things secret is not disclosure, and this isn't disclosure either. And basically, if you read this thing, it's very non-specific. There's a few specific dates about them collecting reports, and I think it mentioned that they had 144 reports that they couldn't explain or something. And these reports have sensors, and they said there was only one which they could identify, which was some type of overinflated weather balloon. I mean, it's just crazy stuff compared to what we found out. If you actually do the research on the ground, people like, for example, Scott and Suzanne Ramsey that comes to mind, and their work into the Aztec UFO incident. This thing has nothing like that in it. It's just all, oh, well, we think we might have found some strange stuff in the air, but we don't really know what it is. They talk about this other bin. So really what we need is more money so we can investigate it and classify it better. That's basically what they're saying. So they're using this, saying, oh yeah, it's probably a threat to national security. So if it is a national threat to national security, then we need more money to go and investigate it. That's the basic thrust of this document. There's no disclosure here at all. It's just ridiculous. It's laughable compared to, for example, if you go back to Wilbert Smith's memo from 70 years ago. I mean, maybe I should get that up on the screen. So, I can remind everyone that this was written in 1950, So there's over 70 years ago, everybody. 70 years ago, again, I'll leave the links here. But, Smith writes, I made discreet inquiries through the Canadian Embassy staff in Washington who were able to obtain for me the following information. The matter is the most highly classified subject in the United States government. I mean, I've been through this hundreds of times. Rating higher even than the H-bomb. Flying saucers exist. Their modus operandi is unknown, but concentrated effort is being made by a small group headed by Dr. Vannevar Bush. The entire matter is considered by the United States authorities to be of the tremendous significance. And it's just, it goes on and on. This you can read the other pages. So this is the sort of disclosure that they should be doing, but of course they're not doing that. And as I said before, the thing they're not disclosing is that they've done all of this. They've captured the craft, they've developed the technology, and they've weaponized it, and they've hidden all the good stuff away, as part and parcel of this rollout of this agenda which we're living now. So, this. It's comical that there's any attempt. I mean, I didn't really even want to read it. I was asked to comment on it by, I might be doing a couple of sort of streams, and I'm going to do another of the collective conspiracy things with with Kieran. So, I was asked to read it, and so I read it, all 9 pages of it. So, make of it what you will. I think it's just a distraction. They're not going to disclose anything, so, don't expect anything. So that's it for now, and thanks very much again for listening, and share this if you want to.